Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the video. Well, I'm finally back from holidays. I had an absolutely wonderful trip. I went up to the northern end of Lake Superior to visit with my daughter. And, I mean, if you haven't been, it is absolutely lovely up there. It is one of those truly unspoiled parts of the world, and I highly recommend it. The only downside, of course, is, for me anyway, the 14-hour drive to get there and the 14-hour drive to get back. It is quite long, but like I said, it's an absolutely lovely part of the world. So now I'm back, and it's time to get some stuff done. One of the things I want to do, though, before I get into this build, is I collected some rocks, and I collected some sand, and I want to set up a Lake Superior biotope. I'm going to set up an aquarium like, well, it won't be anywhere near what it actually looks like there, but I'm going to show you some footage of the lake itself, and I'm going to try and set up as close as possible. I even collected a few plants from up there, so I was kind of tempted also to get some fish, but like it's a 14-hour drive. I didn't want to risk it, and all I really saw, as you're going to see in the video, is a fair amount of, well, tons and tons of minnows, but I wasn't entirely sure what they were species-wise because they were really quite small, and I didn't want to risk end up bringing something back that's going to grow to a foot or so in length, and of course that would be a hard, thing to house going forward. So anyway, I'll get to that, and hopefully we'll have that up soon. So here you go. This is going to be the new home for those two Venus flytraps I got. This part of the build is quite straightforward. It's just one of my planter boxes. It's going to sit on the inside of the pond, and it's just going to hang there, and I'm going to put gravel and soil and all that sort of stuff, and that's where it's going to sit. But if you're familiar with Venus flytraps, you know that they are carnivorous, and I'm hoping to be able to get some footage, obviously not today because I'm just building this now, of flies. So this has to be fly proof. So the cap that's going to go on this is the harder part, well, a little bit more tricky as far as dimensions go, because I can't leave any gaps that a fly can get out of, because I don't really want to have my house with a whole pile of flies, swarming all over the place. So this part's straightforward. Putting the top on has to be quite snug, so that's the main concern there. It has to not allow for any room for a fly to sneak out, and that's about it, really. The other thing is I need to be able to add something onto the top of this, besides the actual just the encasing that's going to go on top of it, something that will allow me to capture some flies, put it on top of this, release them into the chamber, and of course prevent them from escaping, and then hopefully, like I said, going forward, I can get some footage for you guys of Venus flytraps doing their thing. Initially I thought about trying to include that sort of footage here, but transplanting plants can be a little traumatic on them, even Venus flytraps, which really don't have much in the way of a root system. They don't rely on the roots for gathering nutrition because they inhabit bogs, and there's not a whole lot of nutrition available that way. That's why they've adapted to getting the nutrition, the nitrates and phosphates, from whatever insects they happen to buy. But like I said, it can be a little traumatic to transplant them anyway, and I wanted to give them a chance to recover for a few days, and then I'm definitely going to go through a process of capturing some, flies initially, because it's perfect time this time of year for that. But going forward, like long term, one of the things I'm thinking about doing is trying to wean them onto scuds, because, I culture them for, first off. But secondly, if I put them on the pads, they're going to wiggle around a little bit, and I'm hoping that's going to stimulate the pads to close, and then the Venus flytrap will get their nutrition that way. They don't really need a specific organism to feed on. All they need is that organic animal matter. So I think I've heard about some people actually using like a bit of meat and stuff, but I'm going to try and use scuds to start off. We'll see how that goes. So this is going to be the top. It's going to fit snugly on top of there, and you can see there is a 1-inch hole. And the reason for that is, a while back, I'm not sure if you're going to remember this, I had built a couple of things for doing some filtration, and it had a system for dropping in a bit of carbon, without disturbing the filter. It was a sliding trap door, and it would allow the carbon to drop into the filter, and it worked really well. I just never really got any further with that sort of filtration system. So it's been sitting around for a little bit, so I think it's time to try it out here. So you can see one of the fly traps there, and it's a simple matter. I'm just putting this in here. I'm going to put some gravel in, mostly just to weight it down, and then once the gravel's in place, I am going to put some soil in there. Not really that necessary. I just want to make sure that the Venus flytraps are out of the water. And if you're wondering what's happening here is, well, guppies are very curious, so one of the little ones managed to get through the holes, and I just have to fish it out. The other thing that's interesting about this is I'm not sure what happened with my camera, but it decided to shut off. I think maybe it was getting a little bit full, and I don't have the entire transplanting recorded. Not a big deal, because all it really is just I'm going to put gravel in here, get it up near the top, and then I'm going to put a bunch of soil in there, and then I'm going to put some more gravel on top of that. And it's a simple matter of popping them out of their little containers and trying to wiggle them so that the roots are going to be a bit wet, because, well, again, they're from bogs. So I don't want them to be too wet, though. I want to be a little bit above the water line that you're seeing here. But other than that, they're going to sit on top of that. I'm not too concerned about it because, again, they don't really get their nutrition from their roots. So we're going to, at this point, I think I'm going to cut out. Yeah. So I've transplanted them, and now it's a simple matter of putting the top on, letting them recuperate for a few days. I'm going to catch some flies, and then we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that they're going to do well. They've done really nicely so far. They did suffer a little bit for my holidays because they didn't get watered at all for the time I was away. And actually this Sunday's video, the vlog, is going to show you some of the things that actually happened in the fish room while I was away. It was kind of interesting, like something that hasn't happened before. But anyway, we'll talk about that on Sunday. So this is the container I made. It's something I just machined out of acrylic. Has a nice little sliding trap door. Should prevent flies from escaping. And hopefully I'll be able to capture some and have that ready for you pretty soon. So please stand by and we'll see how this all goes. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for putting up with me being away for a little bit. It was nice to have a holiday, and I'm quite refreshed now. So we'll get some videos done, and I haven't forgotten about the poll. The next thing, filter-wise, I'll be putting together the rest of the filtration for the mini sump. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.